Hey everyone! So in this explainer, we're going to break down an idea that I'm sure has crossed your mind at some point, learning something new and doing it fast. We're going to look at what it's actually like to take on a brand new skill in just 1 week.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. It's the ultimate productivity fantasy, isn't it? To become a musician, or a coder, or an artist, all in the span of a single week. But is that promise of super fast learning actually real, or is it kind of just a myth?
You know, I was tired of just wondering about it, so I figured, why not find out for myself? I took on my own 7-day skill challenge to see what really happens when a complete beginner tries to learn something new fast.
So, before I jump into the whole day-by-day breakdown, let's just quickly cover the why. I mean, why even attempt a crazy challenge like this? What was I really hoping to find?
For me, it was a few things, really. I genuinely wanted to test the limits of what's possible when you're super focused for a short time. Plus, honestly, I needed to shake up my own routine. But the biggest reason? I wanted to see if this is a realistic thing for a total beginner to do and then share the raw, unfiltered process with all of you.
All right, let's get into the good stuff. Here's a look at the unfiltered, day-by-day process. We're talking the highs, the moments of pure frustration, and absolutely everything in between.
Looking back, the week had this surprisingly predictable emotional roller coaster. It kicked off with a massive burst of excitement, then totally cratered in what I now call the messy middle, before I saw a little glimmer of hope near the end, and it all wrapped up with a day of just reflecting. Let's get into it.
Oh man, the first 2 days were incredible. Everything felt new and exciting and totally possible. You're making quick progress, your energy is through the roof, and you're thinking, I've totally got this. It's the classic honeymoon phase of learning anything new.
And that early optimism is so powerful. There's actually a reason for this. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know yet, so everything seems pretty simple. It's an amazing feeling, but as I learned pretty quickly, it's also a bit of a trap.
And then came day 3. This is the moment where reality just slams into you. The easy wins are over, and now you're face to face with how complex this thing actually is. This is the part where learning gets hard, but that struggle is actually what's building new connections in your brain. Still, knowing that doesn't make the frustration feel any better.
This little note I jotted down on day 4 really says it all. You think learning is supposed to be this nice, steady climb, but it's not. It's messy. That feeling of going backward is the sign that you're truly wrestling with the material. It's also the exact point where most of us give up, not realizing we're right on the edge of a breakthrough.
But if you can just push through that wall, something really cool happens. Around day 5, pieces started to connect for me. Little things that I was struggling with just clicked. These tiny little wins were the exact fuel I needed to get my momentum back and start believing in the process again.
And that brings us to the last day. Day 7 wasn't about some big performance or proving I was an expert. It was just about looking back to day 1 and really appreciating how far I'd come. It was a chance to take stock, not of my mastery, but of my progress.
So, moving away from the play-by-play, what were the big takeaways? What did this whole experiment really teach me about learning itself, beyond just this one skill?
My expectation going in was, well, a little naive. I thought it would be this smooth, straight line to success. I figured I'd master the skill and my motivation would never waver. The reality? Oh, it was so much messier. It was full of peaks and valleys. I didn't master anything. I just built a foundation. And I learned that feeling frustrated isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're actually learning.
This right here was the biggest lightbulb moment of the entire week for me. I realized the goal was never to become an expert in 7 days. I mean, that's impossible. The real and much more valuable goal was simply to start, to get over that initial hump and build something I could grow from.
So, with all that in mind, how can you do this yourself? Here is a super simple blueprint you can use to kick off your own 7-day learning challenge.
Honestly, it's way simpler than you'd think. First, pick something small and super specific. Not learn guitar, but maybe learn 3 basic chords. Then set a totally manageable daily goal, like just 30 minutes. Write down how it's going, the good and the bad. Prepare yourself for that slump in the middle because it is coming. And most importantly, just focus on showing up every day. Don't worry about being perfect.
If you take only one thing away from all this, let it be this right here. Celebrating the small steps forward is so much more powerful and sustainable than chasing some impossible idea of perfection right out of the gate. It's all about the progress, not the perfect outcome.
And that brings us to the end. You've seen the reality, the struggle, and the eventual breakthrough. You've got the blueprint. So the only real question left to ask is, what will you decide to learn next?